Have you ever wondered why some men seem to draw women in effortlessly, while others, despite good looks or success, remain invisible? It's not just about appearance, money, or status, though society often tries to reduce attraction to those surface details. What women are truly drawn to lives deeper, beneath the surface, in a realm of presence, energy, and authenticity. Because the truth is, women don't fall for a face or a bank account. They fall for a feeling. The feeling of being safe, seen, and cherished in a man's presence. The feeling that his confidence doesn't need to dominate the room, but instead radiates quietly, like steady fire that warms rather than burns. This is why explaining attraction in formulas often fails. A woman might admire a man's physique, laugh at his jokes, or notice his success, but if beneath all of that she cannot sense emotional depth, honesty, and purpose, the attraction fades like smoke. Real magnetism cannot be faked. Women are intuitive. They feel when a man's confidence is rooted in truth and when it's just performance. They sense the difference between someone who listens to reply and someone who listens to understand. In this video, we're going to strip away the illusions around attraction. We'll uncover what women actually desire, not the stereotypes sold in movies or magazines, but the qualities that resonate with the feminine heart on a soul level. By the end, you'll realize that attraction isn't about becoming someone else or living up to an external checklist. It's about embodying what is already within you: presence, integrity, and a steady strength that doesn't need validation to be real. So, if you've ever questioned what truly makes a man unforgettable to a woman, stay with us. This journey will not just teach you what women find attractive, it will show you how to awaken those qualities within yourself. And as you listen, let this mantra echo in your mind. Attraction is energy, not appearance. One of the deepest truths about attraction is this: women are drawn not to the loudest man in the room, but to the one who knows how to be fully present. Presence isn't about standing tall or speaking with authority, though those may follow. It's about the energy you bring when you enter a space. Are you grounded, calm, and aware? Or are you restless, distracted, caught in your own thoughts? When a man is present, a woman feels it immediately. His attention is not scattered. His eyes don't dart to his phone, to the door, to every passing distraction. Instead, they rest where he is, as if the moment before him is enough. That stillness tells her something primal. I am safe with him. This is not about dominance. It is about depth. A present man doesn't rush to fill silence with words. He doesn't need to prove himself with exaggerated gestures or endless stories. His calm confidence creates a field of security, and that is where attraction begins. Women may admire appearance, ambition, or charm, but presence is what anchors them. Without it, everything else feels fleeting. With it, even the simplest interaction becomes magnetic. A conversation about the weather, shared with a man who is truly there, feels richer than empty compliments from someone who isn't. And presence doesn't just happen by accident. It's cultivated through self-awareness, through grounding practices, through the choice to show up as your whole self instead of hiding behind distraction. This is why women often say, "It wasn't what he said, it was the way he made me feel." What they are describing is presence, the invisible force that makes her feel not like another option, but like the only one in that moment. So before chasing charm, style, or clever lines, ask yourself, can I be still? Can I be here without needing to escape into my own ego? Because when you master presence, you master the most magnetic quality of all. There is a kind of confidence that women recognize instantly, and it has nothing to do with swagger, arrogance, or trying to dominate a room. True confidence is quieter. It's steady, unshaken, and doesn't need applause to exist. A man rooted in this kind of confidence doesn't boast about what he has or exaggerate who he is. He doesn't measure his worth by validation from others. Instead, his value flows from within, from knowing who he is, what he stands for, and what he refuses to compromise. Women sense this immediately. They notice when a man isn't trying to impress, but simply is. His posture, his words, his decisions carry an energy of certainty. Not certainty that he's perfect, but certainty that he can handle life as it comes. This is why women often find themselves drawn not to the loudest or most aggressive men, but to those who embody quiet strength. It's a kind of energy that says, "I know who I am, and I don't need to prove it." That assurance creates safety, and safety creates attraction. Think about it. When a man hides behind bravado, she can feel the insecurity beneath it. When he chases approval, she senses the gap between who he pretends to be and who he truly is. But when he moves with authenticity, even his imperfections become part of his magnetism. Confidence without performance is freedom. It allows a man to listen without defensiveness, to speak without fear of judgment, to walk through the world without needing constant reassurance. And in that freedom, a woman finds the space to relax into her own femininity. Because the truth is, women don't fall for a mask. They fall for a man who is real, grounded, and unafraid to stand in his own skin. So remember, true confidence doesn't shout. It doesn't demand attention. It simply is. And that quiet, unshakable presence is one of the most irresistible qualities of all. If presence is the foundation and confidence is the structure, then listening is the doorway. And make no mistake, women notice the difference between hearing and listening. Most men underestimate the power of listening. They nod. They wait for their turn to respond. They give solutions before the sentence is even finished. But what women find magnetic isn't problem solving, it's being understood. Listening with presence is an art. It means putting away distraction, softening your own need to be right, and entering her words as if they are a world worth exploring. It means you aren't waiting for the pause to speak. You're receiving, feeling, absorbing. And here's the secret. When a woman feels truly listened to, she feels valued. Not because you agreed with everything she said, but because you gave her the gift of your attention. That attention tells her, you matter. What you say matters. Who you are matters. This is attraction on a soul level. Because women are not drawn only to how a man looks or what he owns. They are drawn to how he makes them feel. And feeling deeply heard is rare. It's intimate. It's unforgettable. Think about it. How many times in life does someone truly listen to you? Not to debate, not to correct, not to fix, just to hold space for your truth? That experience feels sacred. That experience creates connection. So when a man listens without trying to rush, control, or outshine, he creates a safe container, a place where her heart can open. And when a woman opens her heart, attraction blossoms naturally. Because the most attractive men are not the ones who always have the right words. They are the ones who can sit in silence, lean in, and say with their presence, I'm here. I hear you. There's a difference between a man chasing success and a man living with purpose. Women feel it immediately. Ambition alone can impress for a while. The drive, the hunger, the desire to achieve. But if that ambition is rooted only in ego, competition, or the need to prove something, the energy eventually feels hollow. It may shine on the outside, but it doesn't nourish on the inside. Purpose is different. Purpose is deeper. It's not about what he earns, but about what drives him. It's not about climbing a ladder, but about walking a path that feels aligned with his soul. A man with purpose doesn't just wake up to make money. He wakes up with direction, vision, and meaning. And women find this irresistible, not because they need him to be successful, but because they can feel the fire of alignment. It's not the car he drives or the title he holds, but the way his eyes light up when he speaks about what he loves. That passion, that clarity, is magnetic. A man who has purpose is not easily shaken. He may stumble, he may fail, but he keeps walking his path. And that resilience, that devotion to something bigger than himself, creates trust. A woman feels safe with a man who isn't blown around by every storm, because his roots run deeper. This doesn't mean you need to have it all figured out, or that your purpose must be grand or world-changing. What matters is that you're seeking, growing, moving toward what feels true. That you are not stagnant, but alive in your own journey. Because women are not drawn to perfection. They are drawn to direction. To a man who knows who he is becoming and dares to walk that road with heart. Ambition can impress the mind. But purpose speaks to the soul. For generations, men were taught that strength meant silence. That emotions were weaknesses to be hidden, locked away, or disguised behind stoicism. But here's the truth. What women actually find attractive is not a man who feels nothing. It's a man strong enough to feel everything and still stand tall. Emotional strength is not about never crying, never doubting, or never hurting. It's about being able to hold your emotions without being ruled by them. It's being honest about what you feel, while also being grounded enough not to collapse under the weight of it. When a man opens up, shares his fears, his dreams, his wounds, he reveals his humanity. And far from pushing women away, this honesty pulls them closer. Because vulnerability isn't weakness. Vulnerability is courage in its purest form. But here's the key. Emotional strength is the balance. Too much suppression, and he becomes cold, distant, unreachable. Too much chaos, and he becomes unstable, unreliable. The attractive man walks the middle path, open enough to be real, steady enough to create safety. Women are not searching for a flawless man. They are searching for a man who can weather storms without pretending they don't exist. A man who can say, "I'm struggling right now," without shame. A man who can admit when he's wrong, apologize, and grow. This kind of emotional strength creates trust. Because she knows that if he can face his own truth, he can also face hers. If he can hold space for his own pain, he can hold space for her vulnerability too. Walls push people away, but strength, true strength, invites them in. And that is one of the most powerful forms of attraction a man can embody. In a world obsessed with appearances, it's easy to believe attraction is built on how you look, what you own, or how well you play the part. But women sense very quickly when something is just an image. What truly captivates them isn't the mask you wear, it's the integrity you live by. Integrity is simple, but powerful. Do your words match your actions? Do you show up when you say you will? Do you keep promises, not because anyone is watching, but because it's who you are? A man with integrity radiates reliability. His presence feels steady, his energy trustworthy. Women feel safe not because he's flawless, but because he's consistent. She doesn't have to guess if he means what he says. His actions confirm it. And here's the secret. Integrity is deeply attractive because it builds respect. Without respect, desire fades. Without trust, connection crumbles. But with integrity, a woman knows she can lean into the bond without fear of betrayal. That steadiness is rare, and it shines brighter than any surface charm. Men who chase image may impress for a moment, but the facade always cracks. Women are intuitive. They notice the small inconsistencies, the promises that dissolve, the words that don't align with choices. And when trust breaks, attraction dissolves with it. But a man of integrity doesn't need to perform. His authenticity does the work for him. Even when he makes mistakes, his honesty and accountability deepen the connection rather than weaken it. Because in the end, women don't fall in love with the illusion of a man. They fall in love with the truth of him. And integrity, lived daily, quietly, consistently, is the truth that makes attraction unshakable. Attraction is not only about depth, strength, and presence. It's also about lightness, the ability to bring joy, to laugh at life, and to create moments that feel alive. Women are drawn to men who carry this balance, grounded enough to be steady, yet light enough to keep life from feeling heavy. Humor is not about rehearsed jokes or clever lines. It's about playfulness, about the way a man can ease tension with a smile or turn an ordinary moment into something memorable. A man who laughs easily, who doesn't take himself too seriously, creates space for her to relax. Because here's the truth, life can be difficult. Responsibilities weigh heavy, routines become monotonous, and challenges never stop arriving. But when a man can meet life's seriousness with lightheartedness, he becomes a source of relief. His energy reminds her that joy is still here, waiting to be claimed. Humor, when rooted in kindness, is magnetic. It doesn't mock or belittle, it uplifts. It builds connection instead of walls. And when laughter is shared, attraction deepens. Because laughter is intimacy. It's a moment where guards fall, where two souls meet and play. Women don't want a man who hides behind constant jokes, using humor as a shield. Nor do they want a man who is so serious that joy feels foreign around him. The magic lies in balance, the ability to face challenges with strength while still carrying the spark of lightness. When a man can make a woman laugh, not as a performance, but as a natural expression of his spirit, he becomes unforgettable. Because joy is contagious, and a man who brings joy is a man she will always want close. Attraction cannot survive without respect. Women may notice charm, confidence, or looks at first, but what makes their desire endure is the way a man treats them, not just in grand gestures, but in the smallest moments. Respect is more than politeness. It is the recognition of her as a whole being, not just for her beauty, not just for what she gives, but for her mind, her dreams, her individuality. A man who respects a woman doesn't interrupt her to prove a point. He doesn't dismiss her feelings as too much. He doesn't see her as an accessory to his life, but as a soul walking her own sacred path. This kind of respect is magnetic because it creates equality without competition. He doesn't feel threatened by her strength, her success, or her independence. Instead, he celebrates it. He stands beside her, not above her, and in doing so, he earns a place in her trust. Women can feel the difference between desire rooted in genuine respect and desire rooted only in physical attraction. One fades quickly, the other deepens into connection. Because when respect is present, attraction doesn't just stay alive, it evolves into admiration. And here's the hidden truth. Respect is not only about how you treat her, it's also about how you treat others. The waiter, the stranger, your family, even yourself. Women notice. They see the way your character extends beyond your relationship. Respect, like presence, cannot be faked, it is lived. A man who respects deeply leaves a lasting imprint. He doesn't need to demand loyalty, affection, or love. They flow naturally toward him because his energy creates safety, trust, and reverence. Respect is not a weakness. It is strength expressed through kindness. And that strength is one of the most attractive forces of all. At the heart of everything we've explored, presence, confidence, purpose, respect, lies one core truth: authenticity. Because no matter how polished the exterior, no matter how charming the words, women are drawn most powerfully to a man who is real. Authenticity means you are not trying to be someone else. You are not bending yourself into shapes just to be liked, nor hiding parts of yourself out of fear of rejection. You are simply living in alignment with who you are, flaws, gifts, and all. Women find this magnetic because authenticity feels safe. It means she doesn't have to wonder if the man before her is just playing a role. She doesn't have to peel away layers of pretense to find his truth. She can relax, because what she sees is what she gets. This doesn't mean perfection. In fact, authenticity often shines brightest in imperfection. When a man can admit mistakes, laugh at himself, or say, "I don't know," it creates trust. It shows humility. It proves that he values honesty over image. Pretending may win attention for a moment, but it cannot hold attraction for long. Women's intuition is sharp. They sense when energy is forced, when words are rehearsed, when masks are being worn. But when a man shows up as himself, unapologetically and sincerely, she feels it immediately, and she leans in. Authenticity is liberation. It frees you from comparison, from the exhausting chase to be enough by someone else's standards. And in that freedom, you naturally embody the very qualities women are drawn to: presence, confidence, integrity, and warmth. Because in the end, attraction isn't about becoming what you think women want. It's about becoming more of who you already are. When it comes down to it, what women actually find attractive is not a mystery, nor is it a list of tricks or tactics. It's a way of being. Presence, confidence, purpose, emotional strength, integrity, respect, humor, and authenticity. These are not performances to master, but truths to embody. Because real attraction doesn't happen when you try to be perfect. It happens when you allow yourself to be whole. Women don't fall for the mask. They fall for the man beneath it. The one who can laugh, who can listen, who can be steady in storms and soft in love. The one who carries himself with quiet strength, not because he needs the world's approval, but because he has already approved of himself. And this is the secret. Attraction is not about chasing, convincing, or proving. It's about alignment. When a man aligns with his true self, his energy speaks louder than any words ever could. Women feel it. They are drawn not to the surface, but to the soul. So if you've ever wondered what women really want, let this truth echo in your heart. They want a man who is real, a man who remembers his worth, a man who doesn't perform love, but lives it. By embodying these qualities, you won't just attract women. You'll attract the kind of love that is rooted in truth, depth, and mutual respect. The kind of love that doesn't fade when the surface changes, because it was never about the surface to begin with. So take this moment as a reminder. You don't need to become someone else to be attractive. You simply need to return to yourself. Because the most magnetic version of you has always been the one who is authentic, grounded, and alive in his own truth. If this message resonates with you, let it anchor in your spirit with this affirmation. Comment it below to claim it. Subscribe to the channel, and let your journey into authenticity become the source of the love you've always been searching for.